Let's move on to the defending national champions, the Michigan Wolverines. Their win total is set at 9. They are plus 700 to win the Big Ten, plus 110 to make the college football playoff, 33 to 1 odds to repeat as national champs. Michigan lost a lot from their offense. J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, they're both gone and in the NFL now. And another guy who jumped to the NFL, their head coach, Jim Harbaugh, after winning with his alma mater, said, "All right, I'm heading up to the Chargers." So, what is your approach to betting Michigan this season?
Yeah, it's a really intriguing team, a team that bettors have been selling all off season. There were some win totals at 9.5 early on, and now we're at 9 with juice to the under, and some places even going to 8.5. I think I'm not really interested in selling Michigan in terms of any futures and under their win total just because it's moved
Sure.
so much. But I'm going to look to bet against them in some individual games against the spread this season, just because you mentioned all the turnover on their roster and then their coaching staff. Not only do you have to replace pretty much everyone on offense, but Harbaugh took a lot of assistants with him to LA. I think the biggest one, defensive coordinator Jesse Minter, who did a really nice job there and coordinated the best defense in the country last year. But the biggest question for me with Michigan, just in terms of their roster, is who's gonna play quarterback because there was not a clear replacement for JJ McCarthy on this roster, and I think just with their offense losing a lot on the offensive line and a consistent bell cow in Blake Corum and even some of the wide receivers, notably Roman Wilson, this offense is going to take a huge step back. And if the offense takes a huge step back, the defense is going to be asked to do a lot more. They're coordinated now by Wink Martindale, who's a former Ravens defensive coordinator, was most recently with the Giants, doesn't have any much experience recently, at least in the college game. So kind of curious to see how he adjusts there. I know he kind of left on bad terms with the Giants last season, and he loves blitzing, and maybe blitzing with that much talent on the Michigan defense isn't the best thing to do, and just kind of play a little more conservative style to try to grind out games with the run game offensively. So I'm just interested how that meshes, and especially with a new head coach and Sharon Moore, former offensive line coach, who you figure is going to want to run the ball a lot anyway. Interesting schedule for Michigan. You got home games against Texas in week 2, where currently the Longhorns are a 3.5 point favorite. So Michigan over a field goal dog at home. That'll be a very fun game to watch in the early going in week 2. They also have home games against USC and Oregon. So that kind of highlights their schedule. The rest of the Michigan schedule, semi favorable. You do have, of course, go to Ohio State at the end of the season. So I'm interested to see just kind of Michigan this season and how they adjust to life without Jim Harbaugh, who, say what you want about him, he brought Michigan back to glory just like he promised, and now he's off to the NFL. And now we have a new era with Michigan, and I think this season they could take a step back. And I'm looking to sell them in individual games, but not rushing to bet under their win total at 9, as the market currently has.